How does my product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? Our film opening draws on the conventions of psychological thrillers and horrors to create tension and build a feeling of unease. From the beginning, we deliberately used techniques that were familiar to these genres to build tension and signal danger. Our main genre convention that we used was a mysterious figure dressed in all black with a hood covering his face. This costume design follows typical thriller conventions where the antagonist often is anonymous and threatening. We also followed the convention of isolating the protagonist. A young girl is shown walking home alone in uniform, which immediately positions her as vulnerable and innocent. This setup is typical to thrillers where the woman is portrayed as isolated targets. We used a variety of camera shots and editing techniques to support the genre. Over-the-shoulder shot. Over-the-shoulder shots were used when the girl receives text messages. This shot places the audience directly in her perspective and allows us to read the messages with her in real time. This builds tension by making the audience feel suspense alongside the character. It also holds the audience's attention by creating a sense of immediacy and intimacy. As a convention of thrillers, this technique emphasizes the feeling of being watched or targeted and makes the whole experience more cinematic by immersing the viewers in the moment. The long shot. Long shots of her walking through a graveyard were used to show her isolated in a wide empty space. This increases tension as it shows her vulnerability and positions her as an easy target. The graveyard itself adds to the gothic and suspenseful tone typical to thriller and horror genres. The visual contrast between the small moving figure and the still environment enhances the cinematic atmosphere and invokes an emotional response from the audience. The mirror shot. The mirror shot in the rearview mirror of the stalker's car subtly reveals that the girl is being watched without her knowing. This creates dramatic tension and introduces the themes of surveillance and stalking, key tropes in psychological thrillers. It keeps the audience engaged by showing them something the character doesn't see. It's a cinematic technique that adds depth to storytelling by using reflections to symbolize hidden threats and dual perceptions. Close-up shots. A close-up shot of her eyes widening after she received text messages are used to show her fear and realization. This draws the audience in emotionally, making her panic feel more immediate. It builds tension, showing her physical reaction to an unseen threat. Close-up shots are often used in thrillers to reveal subtle emotions and inner fears. This makes the experience more cinematic by focusing on a specific detail or emotion. The slow-mo shot. The slow motion shot of her phone falling out of her hand as she continues to receive text messages highlights the drama of the situation. The use of slow motion holds the audience's attention as it stretches time to emphasize her fear and shock. It builds suspense by breaking the pace and allowing the audiences to absorb the weight of the situation. Slow motion is a common cinematic device used in thrillers to emphasize the turning point on emotional climax and make the moment feel more intense. The median shot. The final medium shot of her looking out of the window and then the final image of the stalker crouching just beneath it creates a powerful dramatic irony as the audience sees what she doesn't. This creates high tension as the viewers anticipate what will happen next. It fits firmly within the thriller convention where the antagonist remains hidden but close. The composition of the shot with the girl framed above the crouching figure creates a visually striking and cinematic image that leaves the audiences unsettled and intrigued. Whilst we followed most genre conventions, we also chose to challenge. For example, rather focusing on gore and violence, we focus on psychological fear and realism. The threat is built slowly and subtly through the character's emotions and reactions. We also avoided sexualizing the female character, which unfortunately is a common convention in horror and thriller films. Instead, we presented her as an ordinary girl with a personal childlike room filled with photos of friends, makeup, and stuffed animals. This choice reinforces her youth and innocence and makes the situation more realistic and unsettling. Representing social groups and issues. Our film represents two key social groups, young girls and male predators. It explores ideas of online harassment and stalking. The female character is portrayed as a young, relatable teenager. Her school uniform, the personal items in her room, and the emotional response to the messages all position her as innocent and vulnerable. Through close-up shots and performance, we show her fear without making her seem helpless. She's just a normal girl in a threatening situation, which many viewers, especially women, may relate to. The male character, the stalker, is never clearly seen. His face is hidden, he never speaks, and he observes in silence. This reflects the real-world fear of anonymous predators, especially those who stalk their victims digitally or from a distance. His messages become more invasive, with the final one, cute room, crossing a boundary. It shows that he's watching her in a space that should feel safe and private. This reflects the social issue of online harassment and the violation of privacy that many girls may experience. This representation is supported by Stuart Hall's representation theory, where meaning is constructed through visual signs. In our film, costume, setting, body language, and editing all contribute to represent the power imbalance, fear, and vulnerability. The stalker isn't given a background or face, he represents a wider social fear rather than an individual person. Our work also challenges the male gaze theory by Lara Mulev. Whilst many thrillers show women through a sexualized lens, our film focuses on the girl's emotions and perspectives. The camera never objectifies her, instead it aligns the audiences with her feeling of being watched and her growing fear. In conclusion, our film uses lots of conventions from the psychological thriller genre, including hidden identity, suspenseful editing, and dramatic irony to build tension and engage the audience. At the same time, it challenges some norms by focusing on psychological realism rather than violence and objectification. Through our representation of a young girl and silent stalker, we explore relevant social issues like digital stalking, genre-based fear, and invasion of privacy. Our film opening aims to reflect real-world concerns whilst creating a chilling and suspenseful atmosphere. And that is how we use and challenge conventions to represent social groups and issues in our film opening.